Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/Entitled People. Customer berates an employee and doesn't realize I'm the manager, or that they are being recorded, via audio and visual. So this is less me than a former employee of mine, coupled with my young appearance. Sorry for the long post and any formatting errors. About 8 years ago, I was around 21 years old and the manager of a Subway. To be fair to this customer, I have always looked younger than I am. This story is about a very berating customer, we can call them BC, and a sweet but mildly meek employee we can call SE. SE is helping BC through the line and everything seems to be going well. I walked out of the back to help a customer that had walked in midway through interaction. She's doing her best to accommodate his exacting demands, things like, only 4 pickles. And 2 shakes of pepper, etc. They get to check out and BC lays into Essie. I'm not paying full price and I want a free drink. Are you stupid? It's not that hard to make a sandwich. Essie had done everything right up to this point. To portion, both for his request and to corporate standards when not given an amount, and Essie had been extremely polite during this. She gets a deer in the headlights type of look when he begins this shouting and does what I trained her to do. Essie offers to remake the sub if it's not correct. See, we've had a problem with people coming in regularly trying to get free food, so instead the sandwich gets thrown out and we will remake it from scratch, which at a busy store like ours, my employees could start to finish a sub in 2 minutes or less if you knew what you wanted on it or they didn't work rush. This infuriates him more. No! I don't want you to remake it! Are you deaf and dumb, you freaking bee? As he smugly looks in my direction, thinking he's going to win this. At this point, I hold up a finger to the regular I'm helping with a gleam in my eye. This customer stifles a chuckle as this isn't the first time she has seen me stand up to a ridiculous customer. Look, my employees are working for barely more than minimum wage at a fast-paced environment. They don't deserve to be treated like crap. There is a difference between a frustrated customer with a legit complaint and one with a berating attitude. I interject. Sir, is there anything I can help you with? Yeah, this dumb bee can't do anything right. I want to speak to your manager. Well, sir, you're speaking to him now. You are not the manager. You are far too young, kid. Is everyone here stupid or... I was done with the situation. I'm the manager, sir, and as such, I won't have you talking to my employees that way. I'm exercising my right as a business to refuse your service. You have 30 seconds to vacate my store before I call the police. BC bulks up at this. You wouldn't dare, you effing little prick. Our front line has both video and audio recording for both the safety of my employees and my customers. I will trespass you and allow my employee to pursue harassment if the police see it fit. I pick up the phone. I have never seen anyone dart out of the store so quickly before. My regular nearly keels over laughing. My closer in the back shouts, "Heck yeah!" Essie, who is nearly in tears, I like to think out of a combination of embarrassment, relief, and joy. Needless to say, I told her she handled that extremely well and to direct any similar customers to me. She also got her lunch completely comped that day by me for putting up with it as long as she did. I will never understand people who are like that. What... You're just gonna say like, oh, you made my food, now you're just gonna like give me what I want for free? Like, in what world? What the heck? Now, if you watched the latest email submissions video, this next one is by the person who did the Karen Chronicles, and they want to be submitted anonymously, and this one is titled Karen vs. Karen and the Bud Light Virus. Due to videos being demonetized, I'm calling this virus the Bud Light virus for the sake of YouTube's algorithm. From the previous story, I briefly mentioned how I have 2 Karens, both 70 plus years old and not in the best of health, who live in my building. Well, not only is the second Karen, who is named Molly, a Karen, she literally screamed at this poor young man at the pharmacy because the ankle wraps she needed were too expensive. But she's also weird. She borrowed a couple of eggs from Marie, Pierre's wife, and decided to pay her back by putting 2 eggs in their mailbox. She once asked me, how many years does my 14-year-old sweet girl have left to live? Like, what? Who asks a question like that? Anyway, this story will be told from Pierre's point of view, since he had front row seats to this mess. One morning while I was collecting my mail, I saw Karen and Molly outside talking.
Hi, Karen. Are you well? I'm fine. More than you believe. What do you think? I feel better than you. That's your business.
Later that day, as I was walking outside to the new neighbor, Molly came outside to greet him.
Hello, are you our new neighbor?
Yes, I am. My wife and I. Karen runs outside and cuts him off.
Please, monsieur, don't talk to this woman. She's horrible.
The neighbor and I looked at each other, knowing we should quietly go away, but this was a train wreck happening in slow motion, and we had to see what happened next. Molly gasped in horror.
Me? Look at this Bud Light virus woman.
Karen goes red-faced with anger and embarrassment.
What? How dare you? I'm not dirty like you.
Molly now also red-faced with anger and embarrassment.
But you feel like you have the Bud Light.
I almost had an aneurysm, holding in my laughter, and the new neighbor and I decided this was the best time to leave while they were still arguing with each other. About 5 minutes later, Karen came to my apartment.
Monsieur, I want to talk to you.
No, I'd rather not. Please leave me out of your squabbles with Molly.
Please, monsieur. Molly thinks I have the Bud Light virus.
Well, do you have it?
No, of course not.
So what's the problem? Look, I don't have time for you two old farts. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Leave me out of your squabbles. Thank you. I closed the door. One can hope I'll never get caught up with these two women, but for some reason, they think I'm their ref or something. The next day, as I was leaving, I saw Karen opening our front door to the building, something we all do when the weather is warm. She was startled.
Oh, hello, monsieur.
Good morning.
Please don't worry. I'm not sick, but I just opened the door for prevention.
Okay. I briskly walked out the door and to my garage before Karen could try and talk about what happened yesterday. Unfortunately for me, I know this won't be the last Molly versus Karen fight. I just want to be left alone. That's it. Needless to say, Pierre is jealous that I can't speak French, and I'm very protective of my peace, so that automatically disqualifies me from being in the middle of their fights. Living with Karens for 6 years, I have plenty more stories of their foolishness. Talk soon. I love how they're like pointing at each other like, no, she's terrible. No. How dare you say I have the Bud Light? Like, what? What? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Poor Pierre. I guess maybe that's all they gotta do all day is freak out at whose reputation is better. I don't know. That's so crazy, but thank you for sending that in. Okay, been asked a lot for the Meatball story. So while this story is less entitled people and more just ignorant, a number of others asked me to share it. Here's how a Meatball sub ended in divorce. Again, sorry, it's a bit of a long story. While at my Subway store, I'm the manager, our franchise GM comes in to do a review of my employees, and I received a call from another nearby store of ours in need of some product. So I head out to transfer the product to another store, so the first part of this is all secondhand from our GM. My big burly closer has a middle-aged Karen, haircut and all, come in. She's ordering food for herself and her husband in the car. My GM can see them both from his seat in the lobby. He's watching my closer make the sandwich via our cameras while paying attention to his customer service, correct questions, politeness, etc. She orders a club for herself and a meatball sandwich for her husband. She proceeds to ask for a little extra sauce and then piles it full of toppings he had asked for. Gets rather demanding as my closer is adding the toppings per Subway regulation, even for extra, making her ask multiple times. Of course he is. My GM is in store, and I'm not there to take the heat if he doesn't, something I did for my employees, especially him, since I relied on him to keep my already long work weeks below 80 hours when people called out. Man's a saint of patience. She's rude, but nothing abnormal for fast food. Sorry, quick serve food. Insert eye roll. She takes her food. Husband and Karen proceed to go home to eat. I return from the other store and sit with our GM in the dining area. We go over what went down while I was gone, how my closer did, fantastic, of course, and he catches me up on the owner's focus for the store and drama from other stores. He used to be my manager for a year before we both got promoted. Then in comes Karen's husband, KH, the poor divorcee. He comes in livid, swinging our front door hard enough I thought it was going to slam against the store next door's windows. He starts, "Do you know what you've done?" Pointing to my closer, who is twice his size, by the way, and usually a gentle giant. "Is there something I can help you with?" He's obviously confused, considering he could not have seen the husband sitting in the car. "Yeah, you can pay my freaking alimony and buy me a new house. She's going to take me for everything, and it's all your dang fault. I'm going to sue you, the store, the owner, Subway." GM and I stand up at this to handle it. My GM rests his hand on my shoulder and tells me he has this. "Sir, what exactly has happened?" "Your employee put too much sauce on my sandwich. It fell out onto my pants and my wife got angry. The argument ended with us getting a divorce. You're gonna pay for it." "Oh, sure. I'm sorry to hear about that. I'd be happy to give you a free sandwich." "Free sandwich? What's..." But, holding up a hand to have KH let him finish, "If meatball sauce on your pants is causing a divorce, I hate to tell you that your marriage had problems long before this." KH then spills an incoherent set of sounds before storming out and peeling out of our parking lot. In the end, KH sent in a complaint to corporate. Our corporate contact came in the next month for his inspection and asked me about it. I brought up the cameras and audio of the evening. He chuckled and smiled. "Please email this to me, will you?" "Sure, may I ask why?" 1. Proves we have no fault in this divorce in case of suit. 2. And most importantly, it's freaking hilarious and my coworkers have to see this. So that's how a meatball sub ended a marriage. The GM isn't wrong. I mean, I get it. The guy's mad. His wife is leaving him and taking everything, and that's really not a great ideal situation. And he just decided for some reason it was because of meatball sauce. Like, dude, if she was that insane and she was gonna leave you because you dropped meatball sauce on your pants, she probably would have left you a long time ago. So EP smashes glass all over the floor of my work and blames it on me. Backstory. When I was 17, I got a part-time job for the summer working in a restaurant where my mother worked also. It was big enough, but it was all open planning, so you could see everything that was going on. This is important later. So I'm working one fine summer day, and in comes EP and her 2 brat kids, who look to be about 8 and 10. I seat them down with their menus and bring over a glass jug of ice water, as most restaurants do. As I set the jug down, her kids ask if they can have juice instead of water, and I tell them that unfortunately we are out of juice. We have dispensers in our wall that you can get the juice out of. They are similar to the ones that bars have for vodka. EP calls BS to this and demands that I fill up the glass jug with juice. I then point to the empty dispensers and literally show her that we are out. At this point, her kids are screaming that they want juice, and I try to calmly tell them that we don't have any. Then EP picks up the effing glass jug and just lets it drop to the ground, and it just freaking shatters everywhere. Then looks me in the eye and goes, "Can I speak to your manager?" However, the manager wasn't in that day, and when he's not in, my mother is in charge. So my mother comes over and asked her what's wrong, and EP goes hysterical, saying that I threatened her kids by shattering the glass jug when they asked for juice. She says that she's going to press charges against me, and she wants me fired. But as I said before, this restaurant was all open planning, and my mother had seen everything and knew that EP was lying. I'm a tall girl, nearly 6'1", and I'm 17, so my mother wasn't exactly small either. I'd say maybe 5'11", which is pretty tall. So my mother literally bends down to the EP's height and puts on the voice that all mothers put on when someone messes with their child and says, I saw everything that happened, and I know that you are lying through your freaking teeth, and you better leave before I press charges for putting my freaking daughter at risk by shattering a glass at close proximity that could easily hurt her. And so help me God, if I decide that I do want to press charges, let me tell you that you will never be able to show your face in a freaking restaurant in this area again. My mother is pretty high up in the restaurant industry in my area, as she has been a chef in most of those restaurants. I swear, when EP heard that I was the manager's daughter, her face paled so much I thought she was going to faint. She grabbed her kids and rushed out of the door, and thankfully, we haven't seen her since. Yeah, that's pretty concerning that you would be willing to drop a glass jug because you were mad that your kids couldn't have juice because they were out. Like, what is wrong with you? Anyway, that is going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Really quickly, I'd like to thank my patrons. Up on the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy case. Thank you all so much for supporting me in that way. If you're interested in becoming a patron, checking out the original post from today's video, or sending me an email for possible inclusion in a future video, all of that information is in the description box, so be sure to check it out. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!